Hello my lovely nestlings and welcome to the most anticipated video of the entire year. My eyeshadow palette collection and declutter of 2022. Currently, as I'm filming this intro, the count is, what was it again? 279 eyeshadow palettes. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Nikki. I am from the Netherlands, hence the accent. I'm also slightly orcish, relatively vintage. I love spooky stuff, makeup and being creative. Let me explain some things. The slightly orcish means that I'm green. I'm a light to light medium warm-ish olive. And the relatively vintage means I'm 46. I also have ADHD, can you tell? And I'm autistic, so I just call myself the mystery box. Or maybe I'm like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. So this is the finale, the grand finale of my makeup declutter of 2022 eyeshadow palettes. And yeah, as I said, I have almost 280 palettes. I am still waiting on 2. So it could very well be that by the time that the declutter is filmed, because I'm pre-filming the intro a little bit, that the count is up by 2. You never know, but it is what it is. So let's get the disclaimers out of the way, because if I do not, I get questions. Let's start with number 1. Don't ask me for my used makeup. What does happen with my used makeup or the makeup that I decluttered, if it's new, it will probably go in a giveaway. And everything that is used, my dear friends and family get first dibs. And the rest I will either toss if it has gone bad, or I will donate. Yes, I know that someone will probably ask, could I not sell stuff? And honestly, I could, but I don't really want to, because it's just, in my mind, it's too difficult. I know it's not, but in my mind, it's too difficult. So we're just going to let that go. Okay, the last household message is, it's actually very, very important that you grab a drink and a snack and have a refill handy. Make sure that you put your bell on, you know, off, and your phone on silent, because this is going to be a long video. And you don't want to be disturbed to watch the gloriousness that is me. I cannot say it with a straight face. And basically me showing you a bunch of colored powders, and we're just going to have a blast. So enjoy. Okay, I have 279 eyeshadow palettes. I have a combination of drugstore, indie, USA, not USA, and gifts, PR, and all that, and bought. And I really, really want to be ruthless. What I'm going to do is, if it brings me joy or I'm using it, well, then it brings me joy. So if it brings me joy or it's very new, then I'm keeping it. If not, then it's going to go away. I do have to say that there are 2 palettes en route to me, but they are not in this video. So let's start with BH Cosmetics. I have here the Looking Like a Snack. Let's see. I really do enjoy the quality. This is a color story though, that while I love the look of it, I don't use it ever. So it's going to go. We're going to start off strong, guys. Then we have the F Off palette. I don't know, there's something about this color story that I really enjoy, but there's also something that I'm kind of don't really know what to do with. But it does kind of spark some interest. Realistically, will I use it? No, so it's going to go. Okay, well, never thought that I would declutter that one. The Optimistic AF. I really, really love this color story. I really do, so this one can stay. Then we have here the Puerto Rico. I think that this color story is very, very pretty as well. I actually love this one more though. What am I going to do with this? Am I going to keep it for reference? No. I'm going to declutter that as well. The quality was okay, but it didn't blow me away. This one though, this was such a good quality. I was pleasantly surprised by this, very, very much. However, this is not a color story that I use. I'm going to declutter this one. Yes. Wow. Okay, the Orange Sorbet. This is actually the only one that I still have from the Sweet Shop collection. And there's just something about this color story that every time I open it up, I'm like, it's so yummy. It is different enough from this one. Thinking about my collection, I don't really I'm going to keep this, because this one does bring me joy. Yes, I don't use it a lot, but still it brings me joy, so it can stay. Then the Crystal Zodiac. It survived the last declutter because this was actually a birthday gift from my sister. I think that the quality is very, very nice. However, I have not touched this in, I think, 2 years or something. So I think it's finally time to let her go. Okay, the Carnival Antidote from BPerfect and Stacy Marie. This was the last one that I bought from them. And this is a color story that I really, really like. It's also what I have though. But I really do like this one. I don't use it, but I really do like it. This one is actually going to go in the maybe pile because I'm not really sure yet. So let's put that there. Then the Carnival 3 Love Tahiti was the first time that I tried BPerfect and I had a lot of fun with this palette. It's not a palette that I have touched ever since I filmed with it though. So it is time to let it go and just gift it to another home. Okay, let's go here. Mavi Cosmetics, Take Me to Hong Kong. This was a gift from one of you and I love the quality from Mavi Cosmetics. I also really am intrigued by the color story, but I have this in my collection for quite some time and I have not touched it, and every time I open it up I'm closing it back down again, so I am going to declutter that one. Then we have here the Color Flame from Beauty Glazed, which is very much a dupe for the Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay. So let me grab the Wilderness palette so you can see. She did a comparison side by side. And while the Beauty Bay Wilderness palette is more grungy and a little bit more murky, so there's a little bit more yellow in the greens especially than in here, and they were very close and you could very much match basically this one to function as that one. I am still going to keep the Wilderness though because I really, really enjoy it, and I'm also going to keep this one. So the Wilderness can stay, yes. The Earthy. I have been thinking about this one so much. There's just something about this one that every time I open it up, I'm like, I don't want to play with this. I'm going to declutter it. Yes, I am. I know who am I, but I am. Then we have here the Book of Magic. This is no longer available. I'm still going to keep it though for reference purposes. Same with the Age of Opulence. There's actually also a dupe by Beauty Glaze for this one. I'm thinking maybe I can kind of compare those two as well. But there's just something about this. I think Opulence is a very apt name for this palette, so I'm keeping it. Then here we have the Love Notes, which came out this year. It's a very cute color story. And this is actually a color story that while I don't grab it often, I do kind of like it. So I want to keep that one as well. Let's go here. Let's go to What's Up Beauty, their Geodes palette. This just looks so pretty. I love the way that this is looking. The quality is also very, very good. The mattes blend beautifully. The shimmers are stunning. I did get this in PR. I think I'm going to hold on to this for a little while longer. Then Kraken Cosmetics. I have one palette from them, the Survive the Night. This is a very, very nice quality. It's a softer formula, but still packs a punch, even though it kind of looks a little bit muted. The shimmers are very subtle though. They're more satiny, but I do really enjoy this palette. It's the only palette that I have from the brand and I do want to keep it. Then here we have the Milani. Now, I am going to do something that I've never done before. So what I'm actually going to do as well in this declutter, there are some palettes in my collection that are for display purposes, that are either bought solely for display like this one is, or are no longer good to use, but I still want to keep them because they are on display. I am going to count those as a declutter because I'm going to pull them out of my makeup collection and just put them in my decor. Does that make any sense? So this is then the first one of that. So this is their collab with Milani. This has never been touched. And it's also, I did not buy it to use. I bought it for a collector's purpose. So I am going to declutter this out of my makeup collection. So I'm going to count this. But it is going to be, you know, instead of donated or gifted away, I'm going to repurpose this for display. So technically it's counted as one because it's going out of my makeup collection, but it is going on display. Is that cheating? Maybe. Do I care? No. That just makes it for me also a little bit. I have quite a few palettes here that I'm like, I never use them. They're old. They should be decluttered, but I love the artwork so much that those are the palettes that are on display, but they're not used. So that's a thing that I'm incorporating this year. Let's go to 50/50 Makeup. This is a Dutch indie brand, and unfortunately they are shutting their doors. So they still have product, but at the end of the year they are closing. This brand has a special place in my heart, and I'm very sad to see them go, but it is what it is. So let's start with this one, the Desert palette. This is such a cute color story. I love this combination with the gray and the mustard so much. I am going to declutter this. First off, the brand doesn't exist anymore, and I don't really mind that too much, but I also have a replacement for this. Here there are shades that I actually never use. These, for instance, these are also quite close together for my taste, and I have a replacement for this that I very much use, and I really want someone else to enjoy this formula, so this is going to go. Then here we have the summer palette. We have the winter palette, we have the autumn palette, and we have the spring palette. I'm going to declutter the summer and the spring. Those are also the palettes that I use the least of this collection. These two are actually my favorites of the collection, but I haven't touched these in eons, so I am going to declutter this one. This one is difficult though, because I really love this one, but I'm not using it. I have another palette that I use instead of this one, so this one is also going to be decluttered. Okay, let's go here, because this is very much a thorn in my side. Let's go to Saint Angel Sinners. I have a lot of palettes from that brand. Let me shall I count them? Sure, why not?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
I have 16 palettes from them, and I'm going to declutter them all. Saint Angel Sinners is a brand that I was affiliated with. This is all sent to me in PR. I love the formula. However, the owner is so extremely unprofessional that this brand I don't want to be associated with anymore, period. Their stuff happened. If you kind of followed me around on Instagram, or you have followed it, you kind of know what the drama was. You can search for the drama. There's a whole Reddit thread on there. If you Google drama Saint Angel Sinners Cosmetics or drama SAS, you will find it. I'm not going to go into it now, but suffice to say, I'm never going to use this brand again. So all 16 palettes are going to go, and that is just so nice. Next I'm going to go to Cosmic Brushes, the Serenity palette. Do I need to say what I'm going to do with this? Absolutely nothing. I love this palette a lot. It deserved all the hype that it got. This is definitely staying. Then we have the Ansley Rain Capricorn palette. This I actually got as a gift. I mentioned this in the new makeup releases, and I loved the color story. I do have to say, in person it's more muted than it was online. Color story is very interesting, but looking at it right now with what I have in my collection, and that's the trouble. I got this as a gift, and when I then not use something, I just feel so guilty for not using it, but I also feel guilty for decluttering it, because I don't want to seem ungrateful, because I'm not. I'm so grateful to have such amazing friends and subscribers that they're like, I think you will enjoy this, I'm going to send it to you. And then me saying, thank you so much, I really want to play with it, and then never do, and then sitting here now like, I just want to declutter this. I'm also going to, and I do feel guilty about this, but honestly I would rather give this to someone or put it in a giveaway for someone to really enjoy this than for me to hold on to it because I got it as a gift and it's just going bad in my collection. I don't mind collecting makeup. I love makeup, and I have specific stuff that I bought for what it was and not specifically to use. But I also have to be realistic and just look at what do I want to use, what do I want to keep. And this one, unfortunately, just doesn't make the cut. And I didn't think that I would declutter that one, honestly. So there is that. Let's go to this little pile that I have here. Let's start with this, the As the World Falls Down palette by Rebel Rouge Cosmetics. This is such a good palette. This palette I grab for so often. I love the quality. I love the color story. I'm so happy that the brand sent this to me. This is definitely staying. It was in my best palettes of the year for a reason. Then she also sent me the Howlin' For You palette that I really like the color story of, but I haven't touched it yet. It's new, so it's staying. However, if I haven't touched it by next year's declutter, then I am going to declutter it. But as of yet, it's a new palette. I just got it in, I think 3 weeks ago. So it is also staying. Then here we have the Bubblegum palette, which is their collaboration with Alexa. I actually recently did a video that just went online on my channel. I think this is just such a cool palette. And I loved using it for eyeshadow. The quality was amazing. I'm going to use this more as a face palette than as an eyeshadow palette, to be honest with you. So technically it's an eyeshadow palette. And I am going to keep it. Or I think it's an eyeshadow palette actually. Actually, don't know. Oh yeah, and the artwork is by, I constantly forgot to mention that. So sorry. The artwork is by Death and Candy Custom Creations, and she is awesome sauce. So yeah, it's definitely staying. Okay, let's go to this one from the Vina. This should have been in my singles, but I forgot because it's in a palette. And this is actually next to me. This I grab often for inner corner work, especially the shade Gumballs. This is my most used shade by far, but I do really want to try the other shade as well, especially this one. This is very pretty. Shade Salvatore. So pretty. I just need to use it more. So yeah, it's also staying. Okay, then the Sigma Alice in Wonderland palette. This is such a good palette. I love the quality. I haven't used it on camera, but I really love the quality of this. I love the color story of this. I love the whole vibe, so it's definitely staying. Then we have here the LA Splash Golden Gatsby. I also got this as a gift. And there's some, and I have not touched it ever since I got it. There's something about this color story and the palette that intrigues me so much that I do want to keep this one. Then we have here from the Collective Cosmetics. This is the Death by Light eyeshadow palette. I got this from my bestie Debbie, and I haven't tried this yet. I heard that the quality is so nice, and I really do want to try it. It's not a color story that grabs my attention though. I'm still going to keep it to see if I get around to it. I will probably try it off camera because I am very much intrigued by the brand. So I am keeping it for now. Then this one, the Elysium Copacetic Basket Case Collab. This is a palette that really intrigues me, but I've not used it. And every time I open it up, I'm like, I want to play with it. And then I kind of swatch the shimmers and I'm like, yeah, but it's not a formula that I like. It feels dry. This is very pretty, but it feels a little bit, it's just not what I prefer. On the one hand, I really want to try it. On the other hand, I'm like, I know that I won't like this shimmer formula just because of my preferences. So I actually think that I am going to declutter this one. Yes. Okay, then we have here my Blend Bunnies. We have the All Done Up palette. I love this one. This is not going anywhere. Then we also have the Surge palette. This was also a gift, and this is just such a good palette. Such a stunning palette. This is staying as well. Let me kind of make a little bit more room. Okay, let's go to this little pile. Let's go to this one from Creepy Cosmetics. This was their first palette that they released, and the quality was okay. There was nothing for a first palette. The quality was okay. The mattes were pretty easy to work with. The shimmers are a little bit lackluster though, and I've tried I've kind of held on to this because I just like the way that it looks, but it is time to let it go. The Too Faced Major Love palette. I love this palette so much. This was such a nice surprise that I actually ordered the, what was it again? I think the Marshmallow palette, also the same, but I'm still waiting for that. Thank you very much, Beauty Bay. I've ordered that the 11th of November and it still even hasn't shipped yet. So they keep promising me to send it between 1 and 3 days, but maybe I also don't know if it's available anywhere else. So I'm just hoping that Beauty Bay will ship it to me because I really want that palette. I really love this one. It's actually very close to me. So I'm keeping that one. Aether Beauty. This is a very sustainable brand, and this is their Desert Sunset palette. I need to play with this more. I've tried it. I was very impressed with the formula. I actually really like that there's a pop of that coral in here. I really enjoyed this. I'm keeping this as well. Then we have my sigil palettes here. I'll just open them up for you. So here we have the Gazelle. Very pretty. They're all staying, by the way. I have the Gazelle, yes. Then I have the Toad. Then I have the Ice Fish. Then I have the Chinchilla. The Snake, which I played with recently. And I actually went through my collection to see if I had an alternative for this shade, but I do not. So I'm very sorry. I don't have an alternative for this. I already checked, but it's staying. Then we have the Peacock. It's the last one that I could actually purchase from her. She's in Russia, and before the shit hit the fan there, this was the last palette that she released. And unfortunately, there have been new egg palettes released, but I cannot get a hold of them. That's very sad. I hope that everything will resolve itself quickly there, but yeah, it's still staying. And then here we have the Dragon palette. It was actually the first egg palette that she released. And here we have the Naked Kitty Cat. So yeah, these are all staying. The Wretched Romance from Sheglam. This was Halloween release from last year, and I really did enjoy this. It's a spider web. There are spiders on the front, so you know what's not to love. I've been thinking about just putting this up as a display item, but honestly, compared to the rest of the things that I have in display, this is very much kind of lacking. So I am going to declutter this one. Quality was actually very nice though. Then here we have two from Storybook Cosmetics. We have the Starry Night and the Wizardry and Witchcraft. The Starry Night I bought myself. It's an atrocious quality. I can just tell you now. But I love this. This is, upside down, which is not correct. This is on display. So this is a palette that's going to be decluttered, as is this one, because I don't use these. These are purely for display, so they are interior. So I'm going to declutter these out of my makeup collection. So this is the last video that you'll see these. This is out of my makeup collection and just purely for display purposes. Okay, let's go to this one from Base Blue Cosmetics. Same thing. This is the girl with the pearl earring from Vermeer, which is a Dutch painter. This is so cool. This is just a work of art. I've never touched it. I also will not touch it. So I am going to declutter this out of my makeup collection, and it's going to go in my decorating collection. Yes. Okay, this little palette from We Makeup. We Makeup is based in Italy, and this was made by a subscriber because of my color preferences. And this is, I think, 2 or maybe even 3 years ago. And it was just so cool. It's the reason that I've kept it all these years, because it just meant a lot. The formula, it's not my preferred formula. I think that the mattes are a little bit stiff, and I just don't prefer that formula anymore. The shimmers were pretty, but it's a pretty old palette. Oh, I loved it so much that I got this. This was just such a cool surprise. It was so cool. But I do think that it is finally time to let it go to someone who will use this. Okay. Gourmand Girls. Yes. Well, Gourmand Girls is kind of, you know, on a roll these days. I hear about them left and right, which happened very quickly. Maybe you've already noticed, right, that you don't see this brand on my channel, that I don't feature them in new makeup releases, and there's a reason for that. It's not extremely dramatic, not as bad as Saint Angel Sinners, but honestly, I don't want to support a brand who makes promises with people and doesn't keep them, and also talks shit behind creators' backs. So I am going to declutter this. I have the Galactic Gourmand, I have the Celamour, and I have the That Time of Year. This is the only palette that I was considering keeping because it was a collab with 3 amazing creators, one of which is my best friend. But I just don't want to have this brand in my house anymore, so I'm going to declutter this as well. Okay, let's go to these from Martina Cosmetics. Let's start with this one, Martina's Diner. This was released this year around springtime. I did film with it, but it never went online. I love the aesthetic of this. I love the formula of this. I just don't like the color story. It's just not my vibe at all. And I am going to declutter this. While I would love to keep it because I love the aesthetic of this, it's just... It's such a good formula. I want someone else to enjoy this, so I'm going to declutter that as well. Okay, we have the Triple X palette here, which was her Halloween release this year. This is so cool. Oh, can I open it? Yes, I really enjoyed this color story. This is a color story that I love. Will I grab for it often? No, but I'm still going to keep it. And I'm also going to keep my 669 palette, which was the first palette that I actually tried from her. It looks very black, and what I love about this is that we have different black finishes in here. So I have black shimmers, I have black satins. It's just such a cool palette, and I love the vibe that it has. So that one is staying as well. Okay, let's go to these. So these are let's go to Huda. Let's go to Huda. So the Huda Wild Tiger. I really enjoy this, and I am keeping this one. I'm also keeping the purple color block. I know not everyone loves it, but I really had quite a lot of fun with this. And this color combination, it just makes me happy to look at. So I'm keeping it as well. The Love Fest, I'm going to let go. It's not that it's a very bad palette, but it's just not... It's not what I want to play with. The mattes were... okay, the shimmers, yeah, I don't like that much, so these are going to go away. I'm also going to declutter this color block palette. This has never been touched. It's new. I don't think I have the outer box anymore, but it is new. It has never been touched. I am going to put that in a giveaway or something. Then we have here the Huda Beauty Empowered palette. This was in my worst makeup of the year, as was the Love Fest. This is the worst palette I've ever tried. I had such a hard time picking this up with my brush. I noticed that I need to use real hair brushes for this, and I don't use a lot of real... I do have some real hair brushes, but I use synthetic brushes. And on my skin tone, I'm an olive. It just is not pretty at all, and I was so disappointed, and I was so pissed off on how this palette performed that I just don't want to play with it again. So, but it's going to go away. Okay, here we have DD Signature. Unfortunately, this brand also doesn't exist anymore. So I have here the Juicy Skewer, and I have here the Exotic Skewer. The Juicy Skewer has not been touched. I'm going to declutter this one. I am going to keep this one though. I really enjoy this color story, and this shade Chico, it's so extremely stunning. Even though the palette, the company doesn't exist anymore and the palette is not available anymore, I'm still going to keep this one because it's just... it just makes me happy, what can I say? Let's go first to Stacy Alex and then to Kaleidos. Okay, so Stacy Alex is an indie brand from Belarus. And they have these very cool 5-pan palettes which are bird inspired. They have more, but if you want to order from them and you are outside of Belarus, you need to go to their the Instagram account, that's Stacy Alex France. There you can order through DM. So my two favorites are these. These are also the newest one. This is the Owl Moon. Yeah, I actually used this recently. I really love it. This is staying. This one is also staying, which is the Warbler Tit. It's just a very cool color story, and I love the quality as well. I'm also keeping... am I keeping this one? I think this shimmer is just so stunning. Maybe. I am, however, going to declutter these two. This is the Marina Heron, and this is the Wine Dove. This is the... Blue Hummingbird, that's this one. I do find that the mattes of that one are a little bit stiffer and a hint more difficult to work with, but I can make it work. But it is in the maybe pile. Okay, Kaleidos. Let's go to these two, which are the Black Jasmine, which is this one. And it's staying. I love the formula. And we have the Cold Brew. Very pretty. Both are staying. Then we have here the VR Neon, which is no longer available, and I kept it last time, but I am going to let this go now. I have the Blend Bunny Surge palette, and also If I kind of want these shimmers, I can grab another palette. So I am going to declutter this one. I'm also finally going to declutter my VR Neon. I know that this palette is still available. And I had a lot of fun with this, but I haven't used it, and I just... yeah, that's it. I haven't used it, and I think it's time for someone else to enjoy it. Then we have here the Flower Punk palette. This I really, really love. I don't use it often, but this is a palette that just inspires me so much. Sometimes I just open it up to look at it. So this one is also staying, as is the Club Nebula. It's also staying. Yes, okay. I found another BH Cosmetics palette, the Do Not Disturb palette. I completely forgot that. This is what it looks like, and it's not a color story that I use, and I already have someone for this, so I'm going to declutter this one as well. Okay, let's go to Makeup Obsession next. Let's start with these smaller ones. I really enjoy these. These are, I don't know, they're just something about them. They make me happy. This is the Feeling Spicy, which just gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling. What can I say? I don't use it, but still, it does make me happy, so I'm going to keep it. The Sunshine makes me happy. I also don't use this one. I am going to declutter this one. Yeah, I am. I'm going to declutter this one. That was it. The Undercover palette is actually new, and it's still closed, and I really do want to try this, and this just, I love this, so it's staying. The So Dope palette. I had so much fun with this palette. I thought the quality was amazing, but I am not using it. I haven't used it, I think, in 2 years, so I'm going to declutter that as well. Let's go to this one. The Autumn Vibes Quad by Kristen Lee Cosmetics. I got this as a gift, but I've not touched it ever. And the colors are pretty, but it's just not something that I use often, so I'm going to declutter that as well. This one from Midas. This is their Artistry Volume 2, I believe. This color story I love so much, and I do use off camera. Not often, but I still do use it. The brand has revamped, and I don't think that this palette is available anymore, but I am still going to keep it because I actually do use it. Okay, let's go to Viseart. The Petit Four Lavande, which is the lavender. That one is staying. All my Visearts are staying, actually. And this is the Peach, or the Peach. It's also staying. Out of the two, I actually like the lavender a little bit more, but it's still staying. And then here we have the Dark Edit, which I got as a gift from my friend Emmy. And it's also staying. Okay, here we have Asgard Queen Cosmetics. We have the Nettes Temple. Very cute. She hand presses everything herself, so these mats are very hard pressed. Again, she presses everything herself. I can still make them work though, and the shimmers in here are stunning. Asgard Queen Cosmetics is based in Russia, and her makeup is Norse mythology inspired. However, you can order through DM on Instagram with her. So can I close this? That would be nice. Now this one is on display, so I'm going to pull it out of my makeup collection. So I'm technically going to declutter this, and it is going to go in my, well, display case portion of my room, kind of like that. Yes. So it counts as a declutter. This one, the Land of the Vanir. This one right now is also on display, but I have not used this yet, and I really do want to use this. So this is one that I am keeping. If I haven't used it by the next declutter, I'm probably going to put it in the display case with the others, but that one is staying for now. Then here we have Glamshop. Glamshop is a Polish indie brand, and our quality is just amazing. It's amazing. Honestly, it makes me question why multi-chromes, and I know multi-chromes are expensive, but if a brand can do it in this price point, why cannot other brands do it in that price point as well? I don't understand it. I don't. So let's start with the Morlova palette, which is their, I think, Apricot. This is a very fun summery color story that I have not touched in over a year. And every time I open it up, I'm closing it back down again. So I'm going to declutter this. Quality is amazing though. The Glam Vemoro, this is their Camel palette, and I actually repurchased, mine shattered, so I repurchased a bunch of matte shadows, you see them here, and I just basically plopped them in or glued them in. I think this is such a stunning palette, but oh, this is a difficult one. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile because I don't know. The Zilone palette, the green palette. This palette I love so much. I'm definitely keeping this one. The Caramel palette. This is a very fun palette. The mattes are very easy to work with. It's a very nice warm color story, and then with this shade Kudo, it's just so interesting to use that together. So this one is staying as well. Okay, let's go to Makeup Revolution. Oh, I already did Makeup Obsession, which is fine. So let's go to Makeup Revolution. Like that. Yes, let's start with the Grinch, the green fluffy Grinch palette. I had so much fun with this palette. It's such a good quality, and it's a fluffy green palette. What's not to love? So it's definitely staying. I'm also keeping this one, Revolution and the Grinch. This was from their advent calendar, and this is just a very nice color story. A very nice color story, so I'm keeping that as well. The Joker palette. I do like the way that this looks. I love the artwork. I am going to declutter this, but it could very well be that I basically put it in a display case, but I am going to declutter this. I did really enjoy the quality though. I also have the Batman palette here, which is a very neutral palette. And I actually really enjoyed using this palette, but it has bats. So it's staying. And if I haven't used it by the end of the year, I'm going to put it in the display portion of my collection. Here we have the Makeup Revolution Beetlejuice palette. I think this is so cool the way that they did this. The quality was very nice. I had a lot of fun with this. This one is going to go out of my regular makeup collection because I know I won't use this anymore, and this is going to go on display. So technically I am decluttering it, but I am putting it in a display case. Yes, does that make sense? Yes. Okay, I myself am strange and unusual. The exact same thing. Did I try this? I know. I swatched it. I haven't tried it, but I also did not buy this to use. I bought it to display. So it's out of my makeup collection, so it counts as a declutter, out of my makeup collection, and it's going to go in the display portion. Then we have here the House. I did use this and I thought it was nice. I thought the quality was nice. I am actually going to really declutter this one because it's just not, I don't like it as much as the rest of the collection. So, okay, the Watermelon Breeze by Revolution. I'm going to keep this one as well. I'm going to keep it for comparison purposes as well. This was a very nice quality actually. And yeah, the only thing that I would wish was that we had a nice deepening up shade, a nice dark brown in here. We don't, but that's okay. I'm still going to keep it. This one, what's it called? The Reloaded Neutrals tool. I had one of these. Whew. I had one of these and I gave it to my sister. It was actually one of the first eyeshadow palettes that I reviewed on my channel, and then a friend of mine re-gifted one. But opening it up and smelling it, yeah, I think it's just gone bad. So I am actually going to toss this one. Then we have here the Revolution Soft Super Spice. This was the third collab. And it survived the last declutter because I really do like the color story of this. However, this also has kind of the same smell as the previous one. It's a little bit less. To be on the safe side, I'm going to toss this as well. I did have a lot of fun with this, but I don't know. I have no time for bad smelling makeup. So, okay. Let's next go to I Heart Revolution, which I have here. Let's start with this. The Snow White and Seven Dwarfs palette. This was purely for display. So I'm going to declutter it out of my makeup collection and I'm going to put it on display only. This one, the Good Luck Charms. I actually thought that this was a nice quality. It wasn't my most favorite, but it was a nice quality. The shimmers were a little bit lackluster, but still, I could get them to work no problem. I thought that the color story was pretty as well, but now looking at it, I haven't touched this since I did the video with it, and I know that I won't do it either. I don't like the outside enough to put it on display, so it's going to go away. Okay, the Revolution, Suicide Squad, Mad Love, Joker, Harley Quinn tin. I bought this to display. The quality was actually pretty decent. I had quite a bit of fun with this. The look that I created was actually pretty impactful. I can put this on display. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to declutter this out of my collection and put it on display. Yes. Then we have here the iHeart Revolution, Shrek, Donkey and Puss in Boots. These are pretty new to my collection. I have used both. I like, quality wise and color story wise, I like Puss in Boots more. And I can really see myself reaching for this one as well. And this one is definitely staying. And the Donkey, I did not like the shadows as much as in the Puss in Boots palette, but I still like it enough. I think the color story is interesting. This is going to stay as well, and again they are new, so I'm going to keep them. This one, the iHeart Revolution I Am Enough palette. This was a gift with purchase. I really wanted to use this because I enjoy the color story, but if you can see that the plastic is still on here, this is new. I'm going to declutter this as well because I'm just not going to use this. Okay, then the Max & More Sunrise eyeshadow palette. Max & More is a Dutch brand. They are sold at Action. They're extremely cheap makeup, but what you get is actually nice, very nice quality. So I bought this wanting to do a video with it, or at least use it. I haven't, and I'm also not going to because I have other things that I love more. So I'm going to declutter this as well. This is new, so it's probably going to go in a giveaway. Okay, the Sugar Pill Capsule Dark Edition, or what is it called? I don't know, the black one. This was a present. I've not touched it. Every time I open it up, I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And it's, again, I'm so grateful. I really wanted to try this. And then when I got it in, I was like, it's not as rich in pigment as I thought it would be. I don't know, there's just something, I do really like the layout of this. But as I said, every time I open it up, I'm like, I'm stumped. I don't know what to do with this palette. Oh, I feel so bad now. I am going to declutter this because it's just, every time I look at it, I feel guilty that I haven't used it yet, and that I'm not going to use it because, as I said, I've opened it up so many times thinking about I'm going to use it today, and I close it back down because I just don't like it that much as I thought I would. So, and I just feel so bad because, as I said, this was a gift. You know who you are, who sent it to me. If you want it back, let me know. I'll send it back to you. Okay, next go to V Cosmetics. Yes, let's start with this one, the Vixen. This was the first palette that I bought from her, and I'm not using this. This is on display. It's still good, it still functions. I had a lot of fun with this, but this is on display, so I'm going to declutter it out of my makeup collection, and it's going to go in the display case. Next, the V Cosmetics the Coven palette. This is from her mystery box. This was such a good quality. I actually got her mystery box in PR. This is the first time that she really did kind of like shifty shades like that, and I really love it. I thought that the mattes were very nice. The shimmers are very pretty. It's also a newer palette to my collection, so it's staying. The V Cosmetics, the Grimoire, the original Grimoire. This one is no longer available. She revamped it, and I think it's finally time for me to let this one go. I actually kept it because of the black shimmer and the black glitter. I don't touch the black glitter, and the black shimmer I already have in another palette, so I am going to let this one go. I don't know if it's still good. Let me smell. It does smell good, but it is, I think, 2 or 3 years old maybe, something like that. So yeah, I'm going to declutter this as well. The Kitchen Witch. I bought this. I've used it as well. It wasn't my favorite formula from her. The mattes were a little bit stiff to work with. I could still make them work, but they were a little bit stiff. The undertones of the colors are not really what I go for, so I'm actually going to declutter this one. Then let's go to this one, the Smash the Patriarchy. This is a newer palette in my collection. It's an all purple palette and the quality of this is so extremely good. Best purples that I have in my collection, hands down, so this is definitely staying. And then we have here the Chaos shimmer palette, which was also from the mystery box. I really like this one. These are basically toppery shades, so I use these for inner corner work. I don't know if the palette is available individually, I don't know, but I am going to keep it. Then we have here the palette for the recently deceased. The quality is very nice. The shimmers are basically your old school traditional shimmers, so not as shiny. And this is also a palette that is on display, especially around Halloween time. So I am going to pull this out of my collection. I'm going to put this in my Halloween decoration box and yeah, have it on display. So that is also going to be decluttered, as is this one, the Book of Shadows. And before you scream, this is also a display piece. This is no longer available. I love the artwork of this so extremely much. This is the color story. The quality was very, very nice as well. But as I said, this is no longer available. This is a palette that is on display so often, especially around Halloween time. So this is going to go in the Halloween decoration box or the spooky decoration box, but out of my makeup collection. The V Cosmetics The Lovers palette, which is a very, let me kind of see if we can see the brights. If you look in the mirror of the palette, you can kind of see how bright they are. So this is a neon and this is a neon. The camera does not really show it though, unfortunately. It makes this one way lighter than it actually is, which is also interesting. But you have basically your neon and bright row. This one is also a neon, and then here you have some darker one, some mid-tone, and then here you have a row of shimmers. I really enjoy this palette. I think it's a very, very pretty palette, and I'm going to keep it. The As Above, So Below. Can we appreciate the artwork of this? This is dual function. This is and a display piece and I use it. So this is her version of a neutral palette. I really enjoy this quality. The mattes are nice. They're nice to work with. The color story is a little bit more muted, which I really enjoy. The shimmers are from this one. It's not a satin. It's shinier than a satin, but it's not extremely foiled or anything. The shimmers are more your old school traditional shimmers, but I love it and I'm keeping it. Then here we have the V Cosmetics Blood Moon palette. This is an all shimmer palette and I don't use this one often. I do have it on display occasionally, so it kind of has a double function. But I do want to keep it in my makeup collection, so this is staying. Then we have here the Grimoire 2.0. This is a book, you know? And this is the color story, and it's a very nice and grungy and dark and moody color story. I really, really enjoy this. Is this bulky and heavy? Yes, but I still like it, and I am still, ooh, sorry for that, keeping it. Okay, let's go to Lunar Beauty. I have the Moonspell 1 and I have the Moonspell 2. The Moonspell Volume 2. It's not a color story that I use. I think the quality is nice, but it's not a color story that I use ever. So I'm pulling this out of my collection and I'm putting this in the display portion of my house. So basically these are all usually on display also around Halloween time. This palette, it's also on display, but it's also something that I do grab for on occasion. Not necessarily on camera. I have actually, and I can. So this one is staying in my collection because this is a palette that I do use. But it's also a display piece, so it's kind of, you know, both. Okay, let's go to ColourPop. This one needs to wait a little bit. Let's go to this one, the Wine and Only palette. There's just something about this color story that I wish would look as good on me as it looks in the pan, but it does not really. I can make it work, but it's not very flattering. So I am actually going to declutter this one. The Baroque. It's a very unique palette in my collection, and that's why it has already survived at least one declutter. And I'm constantly saying I want to use it, and then especially around this time of year, but I'm just not. So I am going to declutter this one too. Then the Cabana Club, which was a gift. I've not used this. It just looks so pretty and fun and summery. But thinking about what I have in my collection, I know I'm not going to try this. So I'm going to, I think I still have the box somewhere. I'm not sure though, but I'm going to declutter this one as well. Let's go to these, the Bambi palettes. And I love these. These are on display very, very often. The only one I used out of these actually is this one, the Bambi. This is the one that I use the most, but I also kind of have this color story. This is Flower. And this is Thumper. These palettes are no longer available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these out of my collection because they are only on display. I don't use them anymore, but they make me extremely happy to look at. So they are going to go out of my makeup collection. Or am I going to let this one in because I do use this on occasion? I don't anymore. No, these three are going to go out of my collection and in the display case. Okay, Star Wars. This is the big Star Wars palette that I bought because I love Star Wars. I love the original Star Wars a lot. I've not touched this and I'm also not going to. And I remember when before I bought the palette, I was like, should I really buy this palette? Because it's not a 9-pan and all the others are 9-pan palettes. Are you sure you won't get annoyed by that? And I was like, nah, I can handle it. Well, I cannot. This should have been a 9-pan palette. Then it would have stayed. But as it stands, I just cannot. I cannot store it with the other 9-pans. It annoys the hell out of me that it is not the same size or that it would be, you know, a square. Why is it not a square? Why is it then not a mega palette instead of this? I don't like it. I'm going to declutter this one. And yeah, there's that. So now honestly, this one I only have on display. I have tried it. Oh yeah. Do you see this here? I actually replaced the shade that's in here. Let me move this to the side and I will touch on this a little bit later. I will show you what. But I pulled out the shade that's in here and I put it in the Stone Cold Fox. And this is a shade from the Stone Cold Fox. And then it just makes more sense to me. So this is going to be... I'm not going to use this. I've tried it and I like the quality, but I'm not going to use this. So this one is going to go out of my makeup collection and in my display part. This one, it's new and I love this one. This one I have used once as I'm filming this, but I love this. This is going to stay in my makeup collection because this is one that I'm going to reach for. The same with the Mandalorian. I have used this palette quite often and I do play just here. So I'm very basic with this palette, but still I really, really love it. So this is staying in my makeup collection as well. This one is also going to go out of my makeup collection and in the display portion. Yes, I know I love greens, but I'm not grabbing it. I haven't grabbed this in a year or something. So this is going to, I'm going to just, you know, admit it. This is a display piece, which is fine. This one, the Wannabe palette. I got this for my birthday. I did try this because I kind of wanted to use it. I do think the color story is pretty. I am going to keep it in my collection a little bit longer because it could very well be that I will grab for it a little bit. So it is staying in my regular collection. The Winnie the Pooh Sweet as Can Be palette. Yeah, this whole collection I bought because of the theme. I did use it on camera. I did try this and it's nice. It's nice, but it's not why I bought it. So this is for display purposes. It's going out of my makeup collection and into the display part. It's just so nice that I'm finally allowing myself to admit that I have a display portion in my, basically in my makeup section. Oh, let's go to this one. The Blow and Smoke. This was my favorite for so long. I am going to declutter this. Why? Because I modified the Stone Cold Fox and I'll show you that in a minute. But I had so much fun with this. I think this is an amazing quality. So I'm going to declutter, but I am going to declutter this. Let's go to the Avatar. What do I want to do with this? I bought this because it was Avatar. I've not used it and I don't see myself using it. I think I'm just going to admit that I just bought this for the theme. And just put it there basically where it belongs in my display part, in my collector's, basically in my collector's collection. Does that make any sense? This is going to go on display. Yes. Okay, the Sweet Talk palette. I actually revamped mine. I pulled out this shade. This is the shade Mary Jane and this is the shade Trooper. And Trooper was from I did not like that palette. The Good Sport palette. Yeah, I think I was the only one who didn't like that palette. But this is a color story that makes me extremely happy. Will I use it though? I don't really have these particular colors, I believe, or do I? It's this that's getting me, this row. I am going to put this in a maybe pile because I actually don't know yet. The Los Angeles Lakers palette. And I used to have a Lakers Bombers jacket when I was young. I love the combination of yellow and purple. I really did mean to use this. I just haven't as of yet. I'm right now not really into, I don't know, the yellow-purple combination. This is also because of the theme, so it's also sentiment. I am going to keep it in my makeup collection for now because I really do want to try it, and I know that if I want to do a yellow purple look, I'll probably grab this one. Then let's go to these two, which are the Hocus Pocus palettes. So let's start with this. This is almost always on display. I do use it on occasion, but I do like to pull it in. So I'm actually going to keep this in my makeup collection still. We will see with the next declutter if I'm going to just put it for display. But I do really enjoy this. And then, yeah, the newer one, the Hocus Pocus, from the Hocus Pocus 2 movie. I love this palette so much. I actually grab for it quite often. It was in the best palettes of the year, and it's staying, definitely. Okay, then the Stone Cold Fox, and let me show you what I did. So this is actually the shade that I pulled out of Darth Vader, and now it makes sense. We all have monochromatic rows, and then all of a sudden here in the gray row where there should be a dark gray, they kind of put something like this, and I was like, huh? So this for me, it's just so much better, and I just wrote here basically the shade name that it is right now. This is such a good palette. So I got this actually as PR from ColourPop. I was so happy with it, and I did not expect to love it as much as I do. Let me clean my table a little bit because I'm making a mess. Let's go there. Let's go to these. These were also gifts. This is from JCat Beauty, the Dia and the Noche palettes. These I was going to try, but I never got around to it. I have, since I got these, never used them, and I'm actually going to declutter these now because, as I said before, while I'm very grateful that I got these, I want someone else to enjoy these. So they're going to go in the declutter pile. Then we have here from Profusion the Meadow and the Euphoria. I actually got a bunch of them, and I already decluttered most, and these are the two that I kept, but these are still closed. I know I'm not going to use this one, and I just think it's, you know, I don't want to open it up just for this shade. So I'm going to declutter this as well and give this to someone else. Then the Meadow. There's something about this color story of the Meadow that I'm like, that's so interesting. This shadow pulls at my heartstrings very much, but I also have that one in abundance, so I'm also going to let this one go. Then we have here ABH. This is the Nouveau palette. She's not going anywhere. I love this one. Then we have the Rose Metals. I love this one as well. This is also not going anywhere. And then we have the Subculture, which is one of my favorite palettes ever. So definitely staying. Then we have here the Glamlite Pizza Slice palette. Now, unpopular opinion, I'm not really a fan of Glamlite's formula. I have tried Michaela 1, did not really like it. I thought that the mattes were, well, it's not that it was a bad palette. The mattes were fine. They were workable, they were fine. The shimmers were stunning, but they creased like a mother effer on me. And I just felt, unpopular makeup opinion, I just feel that the brand is way overhyped. Debbie sent me this one to try. And I don't really like it. I think that the color story is cute. The shimmers in here are meh, and the mattes are a little bit stiff. So this, while I think it's a cute idea, and I do like Glamlite as a brand, I just think that they're overhyped. What can I say? I just don't really like this palette. So I'm so sorry, hon. I'm so sorry, but I am going to give this away to someone else who loves pizza and makeup. Let's go to some random brands that I have. Let's go to this. This is from ZZ, and this I got as a gift from a person that I don't want to be associated with. But I really do like the way that I've been thinking, do I want to declutter this or not? I really love the way that this palette looks. This is a display piece for me. I've not used it. I'm also not going to use this. This is just I also don't know if ZZ is cruelty free, but this is for me a display piece. It's just so with the cat. I'm going to declutter this because it's going to go out of my makeup collection because I was not planning on using it anyway, but it's going to go on display because it's just so stunning. Just looking at this. So out of my makeup collection and into my display case. Next, the Flower Child by Max Up the Makeup. This is a palette that I never reach for, but I keep holding on to because it just makes me happy. I also love the brand. I actually do want to keep this in my makeup collection, even though it's more on display, because if they come out with anything new, I can kind of compare a little bit, you know. Then we have here the Queen Bee from Colored Rain. Yeah, this is so cool. I love this palette so much. I love the quality. I love the complete artwork. It's stunning, so I'm definitely keeping it. This one from Barry M. I bought because there's a big fat bumblebee butt on the front. I have used it and it's actually a nice quality, but I will never ever use it again. This is purely for display. So again, out of my makeup collection and into the display case. It's just going to be, you know, interior decoration. That's what it's going to be. The Queen Bee palette from XNO Cosmetics. I do like the quality of this. I wish that this shade had been a different one, but that is okay. It's the only palette that I have from them. Now, honestly, I don't really like it that much as a display piece. I just don't really vibe with the artwork per se. But it is the only palette that I have from the brand. And it's going to stay in my makeup collection also for now. Then we have here the Tiny Marvels from Sydney Grace and with Mel Thompson. If you don't know who Mel Thompson was such an amazing human. She also was a big part of the beauty community, and she passed away unfortunately. And this was her collab with Sydney Grace. So I finally got my grubby little hands on it this year. This is not going anywhere. This is on display. I don't use it often, but I do want to keep it in my regular makeup collection. So this is staying. Okay, let's go to Juvia's place. Okay, let's go to these. Now, I love these. But I think, I don't know, I don't like the formula anymore. I just don't like the formula anymore. So I actually used this one recently. I also have tried this one. I feel that the mattes are very dry. The shimmers are meh. They're pretty, but still they're meh. So I don't know if this kind of has gone bad a little bit, of that my preferences have just changed. I also used this one lately and I felt it a little bit harder to work with. So I'm like, why? I don't know. The shimmers feel a little bit powdery. The mattes here still feel nice, but already when I swatch them, it's just, I kind of know that they're going to be a little bit more patchy. What is it? Or is it just that my preferences have, I do really like that color story still though. But I am going to declutter all four because I already had decided that I would. Next I have here the Nubian Earth. And this, I love the color story of this, but the quality is kind of meh. I felt that the mattes were, I don't want to say very stiff, but I felt that I kind of could get patchy quickly. The shimmers are pretty though, but it was not really the quality that I had in my head. I'm still going to keep it. I am. But I don't like it as much as I like their older formula. So here we have the Tribe. This is just such a good palette. This formula from them was so amazing that I wish that they would bring this formula back, because it's just so good. It's still good. After all these years that I've used this palette, it's still good, and I'm also still going to keep it. This palette though, I got this as a gift from an amazing subscriber who I also consider a friend. The color story is very pretty. If I use this palette, I'm actually very basic. I love this combination. I also love this shade and this shade. But honestly, for me, it's the artwork that makes the palette. And this is a palette that I constantly kept in my collection and never used. And finally, I'm just going to admit it. This is a palette that I don't want to use, but I do want to have on display. So it's going to go out of my makeup collection and it's going to go in display. Then here we have the Lashes by Lena Queen Bee palette. Open. This is the color story. And it is just so, it's such a stunning quality. It's so good. The whole vibe, the whole aesthetic. This is also on display, but I also use it. So this one is staying. Let's go to Ace Beauté. Let's go to this one, the Classical Paradise. This is the reformulated one. I really love this palette. I just wish that this shade was a very deep dark brown. That would have made it perfection, but I still really enjoy this palette, so it is staying. Then the Tropical Vibes palette. I really like this palette as well. And this is also staying. Then here we have the Palettopoly. I bought this. I thought it was an amazing idea, and I still think it's an amazing idea. But I'm not going to use this. I honestly, I did a video makeup I wish I didn't buy, and this was in there. Because it's just not something for me. I really do like the color story of this though. I like the fact that it's a little bit more, you know, grungy almost. Kind of here with those kind of yellowy greens. I think this is such a cool idea. I think this is such a cool palette and a cool color story, but realistically, I'm not going to use this. So I am going to put this in a declutter or give this to someone for their birthday or something, but it is going to go. Let's go to Nomad next. Let's go to Nomad. Let's start with the bigger palettes that they have done. This is the Cloud Force palette, and I love this palette so much. This is such a stunning palette, and it's not going to go anywhere. I did receive almost everything from Nomad in PR. This is their Tropical Paradise palette. It's such a pretty palette. It's definitely staying. Then we have their Haunted Europe, which is also not going anywhere. This is what she looks like. And let's next go to the Hudson Valley palette, which looks like this, which is staying. Then we are going to go to the Fête de Provence, which looks like this. And these are actually their newer formula, and their newer formula is very nice and blendable. There's a little bit more pigment in it than their older formula, and it's also better to layer, so there's a little bit more layerability. I think this is a very cool palette. These bees, they're just so cute, so it is definitely staying. Then we have America Sparks, which looks like this, also very pretty. Then we have the Nomad Whistler Snow Lodge. I know it's very blue leaning, and I'm not really going for blue, but still I'm keeping it. Then we have the Land of Fire and Ice. This is so stunning. I love that palette, so it's staying. Then here we have a palette which I think is a pretty underrated one, which is the Cartagena Magica. This is their old formula, but still very nice. Very nice and smooth. So yeah, this one is staying, the Cartagena Magica. Then we have here the Tokyo Harajuku palette. This was, I think, the first palette that I bought from them. This is their old formula. You have here a matte row, you have a satin row, and then kind of topper shades. I really like this palette still, so I am keeping it. And then we have here the Antilles palette, which I actually got as a gift. This one is no longer available, but I'm still going to keep it in my collection. What can I say? It makes me happy. What can I say? Then we have here the Berlin Underground. This is what she looks like. Also no longer available. But this is actually the very first palette that I tried from Nomad Cosmetics. And that's where it all started. So it is staying. Then we have the Malibu Quad. This one, maybe this is my most used palette from them. This is a palette that I reach for so often. This is definitely staying. Then we have here the Venice Simple and Express, which was, I think, collaboration with Ipsy. And this is a smaller, more curated version of their Orient Express palette. And I really love this palette. This is a palette that I grab for so often, funnily enough. So yeah, it's staying. Then we have their holiday release from last year. This is what she looks like. This is a matte, the rest are all shimmers. It's no longer available, but I'm still keeping it. And then here we have the holiday release from this year. You have 4 mattes, 5 topper shades, and that's it. There are topper shades. I know that there are people who love it and there are people who hate it. I'm one who loves it. I think that these topper shades are amazing, and you know, if you want to see how to use them, go watch the video that I did. But this is all staying. Let's next go to Hip Dot for the Addams Family palette. This is a palette that I got as a gift, and it is always on display. What can I say? I love the Addams Family. If you've not seen the show Wednesday yet on Netflix, go watch it. It's amazing. This is not a palette that is for me to use. This is a palette for me to just have because I love the Addams Family so much. So this is going to go out of my makeup collection, and I'm finally going to admit that I have this to display only. for collector's purposes. So it's going to go in my collector's collection, just like others. Let's next go to these from Artitude Cosmetics. It's a UK based indie brand, and these I actually got as PR from the brand. So this is the Color Splash palette. It's an 18 color eyeshadow palette, and it's, as you can see, a rainbow palette in largely monochromatic rose, which I really enjoy. I have not used this palette, and knowing me, I also am not going to. So I'm actually going to pass this one on to someone else. I do really love the brand, by the way. This is their Phoenix palette, the Born from the Ashes. And this, I think, is their most popular palette that I have here. I actually did a live stream with this. I used it off camera as well, just to try it a little bit more. And while it's not really the color story that I go for, this shade here, Phoenix. Can you see the shift? This is so stunning. There are shades in here that I really enjoy. There are other shades that I don't really enjoy just because of the color. This one, for instance, is just not my color. It looks a little bit more green on camera, but it's a very... Let's see if I can swatch it. It's a purpley blue. Oh, wow. Oh, that's also a duochrome. Oh, I did not know that. Oh, my lord. Oh, now I have to use that shade. Oh, that is stunning. I thought it was just a boring blue. But it's not. Oh my lord. I was already going to keep the palette, but now I'm definitely... I really want to... Oh. Yeah, and then with teal... Yeah, I'm going to keep the Phoenix palette. I have here a Pat McGrath palette that I actually got as a gift from a subscriber. She wasn't using hers anymore. I know Pat McGrath is not cruelty-free. Or not considered cruelty-free. Her cruelty-free status is a little bit wonky. This is the Subliminal one, I believe. Says so somewhere. Yeah, Mothership 1 Subliminal. I'm not using it on my channel, but I am going to keep it because first off, it's my only Pat McGrath palette, and I'm hoping that one day she will be considered cruelty free, and then I have a palette that I can compare it to. So this is the color story, and I have used it, and it's stunning. Very much so, but yeah, I am going to keep this also in my makeup collection, and I'm just hoping that Pat McGrath will be cruelty free soon. And I've said this before, this is a palette, I should put this palette next to my bed, because honestly it's so heavy you can kill a bitch. So that one is staying too. Let's go next to Lethal. So here I have the Rouge palette. Put this to the side. We also have the Memento. Now this is their old formula. I feel they have reformulated. But that could be me. I like this color story more, which is kind of counterintuitive maybe, but I just felt that this was a little bit better than this one. I love this tiny palette, but I am going to declutter them. I just don't use them. I would rather someone else does. And honestly, I don't like this formula as much as their newer formula. This is a formula that's very soft and muted, which is fine if you want to have a quick, easy look and you don't want to have that oomph, right? So that brightness. But I have other palettes from Lethal that I actually love more. So I am going to declutter these too. I do love Lethal as a brand. Let's go to the ones from Teresa and Lethal. So this was her first collab. Lethal is Dead was last year, which is still their older formula, you know, soft and a little bit more muted. And this one I actually played with recently. I feel that this is a different formula. I feel that this formula is more along the lines of the Berlin that I also have than their old formula. The pigment is richer, the shadows are a little bit stiffer compared to their old one. The old one was very soft. This is a little bit stiffer. It layers a little bit better. I really enjoy the newer formula. Now makes me sad that I did not get one of the new palettes, but it is what it is. I am keeping both though. Teresa's amazing. She's an amazing person. She's the garbage alien queen. We loves her very much so. So next we're going to go to the Berlin 89. I love this palette so much. This is such a nice formula. This is richer in pigment. It's still blendable, but you can also layer it better. There's a duochrome in here, the shade Breakthrough. It's just such a pretty palette, and it also has sentimental value for me because I know that both owners are from Berlin. One was from the west and one was from the east actually. That's why they did this palette. But I remember seeing on TV that the wall fell, and it was such an impactful moment that I really want to keep that palette. I don't think I'll ever declutter. You never know, but I don't think I'll ever declutter it. Here we have the Night Flower palette. This one, it's still a little bit softer than the one from the Theresa's palette, but I still really like this this color story and this formula as well. So I am going to keep this. I'm also going to keep this one, which is the Velvet Dusk. This is again their old formula, but still there's a murkiness in this palette that I really enjoy. So yeah, I really enjoy it, so I'm keeping that one too. Let's go to Natasha Denona. Let's start with this one, the mini gold. I also have the big gold, but this one isn't available anymore, and this one still is. I love them both, and I'm actually keeping both. Okay, then we have the Circo Loco palette, which I got as a gift, and this is so pretty. This is so pretty. I wish it was one of the smaller sizes, but I have actually used it in combination with the pastel, and that is just such an amazing combination. And I am also keeping both palettes. Then we have here the Glam palette, which I love this palette as well. I do have to say that I need to kind of be careful on the eyeshadow base that I use, because if I have an eyeshadow base that doesn't have enough grip, these shadows kind of disappear during the day. But I still really enjoy this. Yeah, if I have just a regular eyeshadow primer that has a little bit of stick to it, they stay on very well too. So let me remove this so I have a little bit of room here. Let's next go to Odin's Eye. Now, you may have noticed that Odin's Eye has come out with new things, and I haven't mentioned it in the new makeup releases, and I also haven't featured it on my channel. That is because I am no longer receiving PR from Odin's Eye, which is fine, but how that went was not so fine. Basically, they had sent me an email about the Solmana 2 collection, that I was getting it in PR. They sent me the email, and I never got the collection. So I reached out to the brand any which way I knew how, and I never got a response. And what actually pissed me off the most is that on Instagram I can see when someone has read a message. You can see that, right? They have read all of my messages and they never responded. And I also said, listen, if you don't want to have me on the PR list, please just tell me so I know. They never reacted. So I am taking a break from the brand, just so you know. But now you know at least why I'm not featuring them on my channel right now. Okay, let's start with this one. This is their first eyeshadow palette. This is a palette. It was also the palette that I bought. This isn't good anymore. It's also not available anymore. This is a palette that is on display. Period. That's why I have it. The Goddess Freya is one of my favorite goddesses, and yeah, this one is just always on display. And I really, when they launched this, it was such an innovative color story that I'm going to pull this out of my collection, and it's going to go in my collector's collection. This is the collab with Angelica, the Hela palette. Hela is one of the other favorite goddesses that I have here. This is a very cool palette, and I do use it on occasion. I use it off camera, and I love Angelica. I love the way that this is looking, so it is staying. Then we have here the Norns. Let's go to the Norns collection next then. We have the big Norns palette. Now, I bought the entire Norns collection, and I did not buy it to use, honestly. I bought it because of the Norns. And I have used this palette. I do have to say that I do love the shimmer that is down here. The mattes are not my favorite in this. The shimmers are also pretty sticky, but when you have them on, they're stunning. This is a palette, though, that I don't use. This is a palette that's on display. So I'm going to declutter it out of my makeup collection and put it in my display collection. Then here we have the loose Norn palette. So we have Verdandi, Skuld and Oert, and actually we have to do Oert, which is basically primal. It's the past. Verdandi is right now, the present, and Skuld is the future. Oert spins the threads of life. Verdandi weaves the web of life, and Skuld cuts the threads when it's your time to go from this earth to the next. This is the one that I love the most color story wise. I do use this on occasion, not often, but I do pull it in ever so often. So this one is staying in my regular collection. These two are going to go in my collector's collection because I don't use these. This is an all shimmer palette, And this is a very pretty color story, but I never use these. So these are going to go out of my makeup collection, and they're going to go into my collector's collection, where they should be actually. Then here we have the Diversa collection, which was an amazing collaboration with 3 amazing creators. We have here the Hummingbird palette with the fancy face. Very, very pretty. Then we have here the Red Dragon palette. Also very, very pretty. I love this color story so much. I had so much fun with that palette. And here we have Annette's palette, which is the Giant Wolves. This is such a stunning palette. I am going to pull these 3 out of my regular makeup collection. They are no longer available, and they are always on display for me. So I'm going to pull them out of my regular makeup collection. So I'm going to count them as decluttered. But I'm going to put them in my display part. Then the last thing that I have from them is the Saga of Freya collection, and I'm kind of like, I don't really know what I want to do with this, honestly. I think they're very cool. I think it's cool that they are like books. You know, it gives me almost a little bit of Bridgerton vibes. I really do enjoy that. I think the color stories are pretty. This is the Kitty Cat palette. This is the color story I actually like the most. I am going to declutter them from my makeup collection. I'm going to declutter them from my makeup collection. Yes. They are very, very pretty. They're going to go on display, but I'm decluttering them from my makeup collection. Let's go next to Essence. This is their Jurassic World palette. I've never used this. I'm not going to use this. I'm going to declutter this. I already have someone in mind for this, so no, you need to go into the declutter pile there. Then we have here the Essence Out in the Wild. I've never touched this. I'm going to declutter it. The Essence Born Awesome. This stays for sentimental value only. So I'm going to, can you guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to declutter this from my makeup collection, but I am going to basically put it in a drawer because it's just sentimental value. Then we have here the Essence Bienvenuti Aroma, and we have the Welcome to Miami. I really enjoy both palettes. I am very bummed that we cannot get the Welcome to London here in the Netherlands. I'm actually pretty salty about that, but I thought the quality of this was very, very nice. Yeah, the shadows are a little bit more muted, and the shimmers are a little bit smoother and a little bit softer color wise or shine wise, but still I thought it was an amazing quality, especially for Essence, and I really enjoy both palettes, so they're staying. Here I have, next is Catrice. Here I have all their Pro palettes, and I'm also keeping them all because they are also, it's the complete collection. So let me show you some. So this is actually my least favorite, which is the Peach Origin. I don't like this shade at all. I don't know what's in here, but still I'm going to keep it. Yes. I'm also, the Lavender Breeze. This is what she looks like. And then we have the Next Gen Nude, which was actually one of the first. Then the other first was the Neon Earth. So they came out with these 2 at the same time. Then we have this one, which was from this year, which is their Desert Romance, which was actually a very, very nice and pigmented palette. This is the Vintage Soul, and I think this is one of my favorites. It's just such a pretty, unique color story. Then we have the Hint of Mint, which was also this year. I had a lot of fun with this. And then this is the only one that I haven't tried yet, which is the Natural Spirit. It's not a new one. It has been out for a little while, but I still need to try this one, but I'm keeping that one as well. Then we have the 5 in a Box palettes. And the reason that they are all staying is not because I use them all, but I want to have them for comparison purposes. So the ones that I actually use are this one, which is the Warm Spice look. I really love that color story. And this one, the Golden Nude look. Those are the 2 that I actually use. I also did enjoy this one, which was the Khaki one, which came out this year. I really did enjoy this one as well. But these 2 are my favorites. The rest I don't really use that often, or actually at all, but I'm going to keep them all because I want to have them for comparison. Okay, let's go next to a random pile that I have here. Let's go to these from Clarity Cosmetics. I got both of these as a gift. I have the Cobra here, and I have the Evil Mermaid. Color story wise, I like the Cobra more. This is just very much my vibe. So this is definitely staying. I'm also keeping this one. I did enjoy the quality. I do enjoy the color. Even though it's a more bluer palette, it's still kind of green blue, if that makes any sense at all. And I just love that it is scullies and a mermaid and scales and such. So both are staying. Okay, then let's go to Fantasy Cosmetica. This is a new brand. They released this year, and this was their first palette that I bought. When I saw it released, I was like, I'm going to buy it. And I'm so happy that I did. This is such a pretty palette. The shimmers are stunning. The mattes are very nice and pigmented, but still easy to work with. Highly recommend this brand. So that's the first one. This is the Sorcerer palette. Color story wise, this is my least favorite. But I'm still going to keep it because I want to keep the collection intact. So I'm keeping it. And this is the Bard palette, which came out last. This is just such a fun autumny color story. And this shade Mythic is just so stunning, and I'm keeping it. Okay, let's go to these two, which are the collaboration between Shroud and Betty Jean. This is the first one, the It's Freaking Bats. This is not going anywhere. I love this color story a lot. Again, here also it's murky enough that you can blend the colors together if you want to. And I just love this collab. I love the brand. I love Betty Jean. The quality is amazing. And then this was the one from this year. This is so nice as well. This shade Black Flame is stunning. The shade Afterlife is stunning. I love the mattes in here so much. So both are staying. Then we have here from Nursery Cosmetics the Sugar High palette, which I love this so much. It just makes me so happy to look at, and I really enjoyed the quality as well. So this one is also staying. I don't know if it's still available. I have no idea. Let's go next to Unearthly. Let's start with this one. This is no longer available. This was actually, it still says Alien Cosmetics. This is an old palette. It was the first palette that I bought from her. I love the artwork. I also really did enjoy the quality, but this is a display piece for me. So again, I'm going to declutter it out of my regular makeup collection, and it's going to go in the display. The Daily Grind palette, which came out this year. I really did enjoy this palette a lot. It's a new palette, and I'm going to keep it. Then the Weirdos, which is one of my favorite palettes that I have right now. I love this one so much. The shade Glamour, you can kind of see in the mirror what the flip should be. It should be a green flip, but it's rock solid. There's another shade on its way to me though, because this shade is faulty, but it's going to be replaced. This shade Weirdos, you can see kind of in the mirror the flip that it's giving. It is a green base with a red flip. This shade Feather, it's just so pretty, and I grab this palette often for this shade. It's definitely staying. Then kitty cat. Then we have the Don't Be Jelly, which is an all shimmer palette, which is stunning. It's a stunning quality. It's definitely staying. We have the All I Ever Wanted Volume 2. This is so pretty. This is such a different finishes in here. Most of them have a flip. It's just so stunning. So also definitely staying. Then we have here the Sleepover. I really did enjoy the Sleepover palette. It's no longer available. It was limited edition. What I loved most about this is that I could use it on my face and on my eyes. I think I'm going to keep it because sometimes she kind of re-releases stuff. I'm going to keep it and see if she re-releases this. If she hasn't at the end of the year, I'm probably going to declutter it. Let's go to the to these two, the In the Dark and the Dead of Night. So I have the In the Dark Volume 2. This is the revamped version. And it's very pretty, as you can see. It's a very dark palette. So we have the In the Dark Volume 2, the revamped version, and we have the Dead of Night. I love the Dead of Night palette. I think it's just such a stunning color story. I love the quality as well. So this one is definitely staying. I'm kind of on the fence about this one though. If I want to have a color story like this, I'll grab the Dead of Night palette. I think I'm going to declutter this one. Yes, I am. Okay, let's go to the Bunnies palettes. I have two of them. I have the old one, the original one, and I have the revamped version. So let's put it like that. That's the old one, and this is the new one. I actually like the matte shades in the old one more than in the new one, but that is personal preference. The shimmers in the old one are stunning. I kept it also to compare. There is a difference. The only shade that's truly the same is this one, Golden Egg. That is the same, but the finish on this is a little bit different. I am going to declutter the old one. But what am I going to do about the new one? I do like it, but do I like it enough to keep it? I'm also thinking about what I have from Unearthly, and I have the Vitality palette, which I actually like more, but maybe this is something that I can use together with it. Not really. I think I'm going to hold on to this for just a little while longer. I'm also keeping the Vitality. I think it's an amazing quality, and I love that it's a big rainbow palette, so I'm going to keep that one as well. This one, the Strawberry Milkshake, it still says Alien Cosmetics. This is no longer available. She did bring it back in the revamped version, which I believe is also no longer available. This is a palette that I just really love the color story of. This makes me so happy to look at, but I think it's time to let it go. It's also not one that I really have on display, and while it does make me very happy, I know it will make someone else very happy as well, so I am going to let this one go. Then we have here the original Fairy Frolic. I don't like this one. She has revamped it, and I did not get the revamped version. I'm going to declutter this one. Yes, I am. Okay, then we have here, oh yeah, I was also going to declutter that one. Yes, then we have here the Smells Like Holiday Spirit. I really enjoy this palette. I think this is just such a cool palette. I love the outside as well. This is no longer available anymore. It also still says Alien Cosmetics, but still there's just something about this whole vibe that brings me joy, so I'm keeping it. Then the last one that I have here from her is the Leather and Lace, which is very pretty. I love the color story, so this is staying as well. Then let's go to Unique Beauty. That's the last portion that I have here, which is Unique Beauty. So usually the collections are in basically books like this, and I really love this. I just love the way that that's looking, but we will put that to the side because I pulled out all the palettes. So let's start with this one. This is the Egg Hunt palette, and the quality is amazing. The quality is so good. The palette is no longer available, and I'm also not using it, so I would rather that someone else use this because everyone needs to have a formula like this in their life. It's just so good, but I'm going to declutter that one. And then we here have the smaller palette. So here we have the Tokyo collection. That was actually the first collection that I bought before I got on her PR list. So this is volume number 1, which looks like this. It's very pretty. I love the quality, but I don't use this color story. So I am going to declutter that one. This one is very pretty, but I kept it actually for the shade Floating Lantern, but I have that shade in... Which palette was it? Ah, yes, see, I have it in the Bart palette. So, yes, so I'm going to declutter that one too. Then we have here Tokyo Volume 3. There's something about this color story which I find very interesting and I want to play with, but I don't. So I'm going to declutter this one as well. Let's go to this one, which is the Pamper Me collection. We have here the palette Bubble Time, which is a very cool gray toned green. I really like this one. I'm going to keep this one. Then you need to go there. Then the Pamper Me. I love it, and I love the shade Pamper Me, but I'm not using this palette, so I'm giving it away. Then we have Me, Myself and I. This is such a pretty shade, the shade Head Wrap. But I also have that in the palette from DD Signature that I kept. So I'm going to declutter that one too. Then we have here the Roots palette. I'm going to keep it. We have the Tribes palette, which is pretty, but it's not what I want to play with. So I'm going to declutter that one too. This is the Queen of the Nile, basically the Queen palette. This is a very interesting palette because looking at it I'm like, oh, I don't really like it that much, but when I use it, it was actually very pretty, so I think I'm going to keep this one. I know I'm also going to keep this one, the Warm Autumn palette. It's just, yeah, I'm keeping it. I'm also keeping the Dark Souls, and I am letting go this one, 'Tis the Season. I have kept her collections intact for so long, but at the end of the day, I know her formula and I just want to have other people enjoy this as well. So these are going to go. Then I have these left. Why is it so hard to let that one go? I don't know, but it is. I'm keeping it. What can I say? I am going to declutter this one though. Even though it has a stunning shade, I am going to declutter this one. I think I'm also letting this one go. I really do enjoy the color story. No, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I made up my mind. I'm keeping it. Okay, this one, the Stacy Marie. It's a big palette. I do have all these colors, but I still really think this is such a pretty color story. I'm keeping this one as well. I think I have been doing very, very well with my declutter, so I'm keeping this as well. Let me count everything and then I'll be back with the final result. Okay, I just counted everything and I am decluttering in total 128 palettes, which is so nice. Now granted, I have kind of been cheating, right? So I know that I have palettes here that are just for display purposes, but the nice thing about that is that I can arrange them by kind of theme and that I can put them in their respective boxes for that specific theme. Does that make any sense? So I'm just glad to have made the choice to just basically have my working collection, the collection that I use, the collection that I want to have, and then a collection that has purely items for display. I hope that you enjoyed me showing you my collection. I know that I did. I love to show what I have and not to show off or to flex, but I don't know. Especially when certain palettes make me happy, I just want to share the joy. Does that make any sense? Anyway, let me know if there was any surprises. Let me know if you have any of the palettes and let me know what you thought of the video as well. My declutter playlist is on the end screen for you to check out the other installments that I did in the video or in the series, and then that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section below. I am going to wish you a fantastic day, a fabulous evening. May your foundation always match your neck, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye guys.